From season 4 trailers dropped a lot of clues to new things to come, and they also left a few breadcrumbs to things that have been showing up in the first 3 seasons that we might be getting some new information about. In this video, we're going to put a magnifying glass on them and go over a few esoteric theories and symbolism that I'm sure will show up this season. Welcome to Real Enigmas and Theories. Spoilers ahead for anyone who isn't caught up and ready for season 4, so without further ado, let's cook. Now I'm going to start right into this with something that's been shown to us with very little information around it, but the places that it shows up and the timing is all we need to observe to see that it's a major clue to something very important, and that's the Rende Move moving company. The calendar in Donna's room first shows up to us in episode 102 when Tabitha is taken to Donna's room to be briefed on the situation. Then it shows up again in 107 when Trudy is deleted inside Donna's room by the monsters. During the backstory of Boyd and his family coming into town, we can see that they've rented a trailer from the same moving company. So here we have a calendar from a moving company that's dated in 1971 with no phone number, a bizarre image of a wooded stream area with a small canoe turned upside down, and a sketchy looking questionable slogan, year-round, cross-country, guaranteed. Yeah, that's some good advertisement right there. Then we have a trailer from the same moving company pulling into town in 2019 when Boyd shows up. So March 1971 to January 2019 is 47 years. Then we see the company show up again on Henry's computer screen when Tabitha was there with him looking at their missing article. This is where we get a little bit of insight around the Rende Move company. The website is down now, but I hope they bring it back up for season 4. But a quick inspection of the website shows a crayon drawing of a house with Henry's address and the numbers from Tabitha's tower vision embedded into the actual website code. I think the Rende Move company is linked to this place and the disappearances of the travelers. It could be a part of an organization with multiple arms, like the bus company that brought in several people who we know for sure have connections to this place. You have Brian and Kelly, and they're connected to Boyd being the first and last name of the person who he saw die in his arms early in his military career. Elgin had a vision and a seizure like Ethan when he arrived. Bacta's grandmother knowing that nursery rhyme, and she was driving the bus. Whatever Randall was carving looks like those voodoo dolls from the cabins, which reminded Tabitha of her childhood dream, and Marielle is tied directly to someone who was trapped in this place. So the last two, Mari and Randall, were also taken by the cicadas, and Bacta's grandmother knew the nursery rhyme or the little song that was connected to those cicadas. Also, not to mention just the logistical thing that buses, people board them at rendezvous locations. Rende Move could be one company that's involved under a much larger umbrella. Let's peep the wordplay of the name itself. A rendezvous is supposed to be a planned meeting, a gathering, in a designated place where people knowingly come together. But that's what makes the name Rende Move feel so off in a show like From, because everybody in this story is gathering in one place, but nobody chose this destination. They're all being moved towards a destination location without consent, without understanding, and without any clear invitation. So the word itself, Rende Move, feels like a dark inversion when you think about what the show is talking about. It sounds kind of harmless on the surface, and the subtle way that it shows up on the show seems simple enough, but in the context of the show, it starts to feel like a forced convergence. What if it's just a gathering point disguised as a moving company? A designated place that people keep getting funneled into Fromlin from different roads, different states, different lives, and they all end up in the same trap. So when you look at the name Rende Move, it almost reads like a hidden mission statement. move them to the Rendezvous. And all the time we see Rende Move are in episodes that were suggested to us by the showrunners. You got episode 107, you got episode 108, episode 302, and episode 304. All four of those show the Rende Move company, and they were suggested to us by the show. The first place we see this company is in Donna's room, and I've been saying this on this channel for a while that I think Donna knows something that she's not telling anybody, and I believe that that thing has something to do with her past. I'm not using the term mole, but I do think she knows something that she's keeping secret from everybody. I mean, she's made Colony House into a place of free living and a whole nightmare, and she seems to be against any attempts to leave this place. She keeps important information from the people like the food shortage and the voice on the radio. And she wanted to get rid of the monster's body and not even tell anybody that they killed one. Not to mention how she advocated for Julie to be separated from her family, and she opted in on the torture of Elgin. That picture of her sister is suspect, and she's always got her hands in her pockets. One of the suggested episodes, 304, after Tabby and Henry came to Colony House, Donna broke down and cried in her room with Boyd, and it was a point made to show that calendar during that scene. And it made me ask the question, why was she breaking down like that? Was she realizing that that so-called company Rende Move was at work again by bringing Tabitha back into town? And I'm also wondering if the clergymen in this show have any knowledge about this place. We have Sophia's father who had the Saint Benedict cross in his car, which is primarily a Catholic devotional item. But it's not only used by Catholics. It's used in some other Christian traditions as well, including Anglicans, Lutherans, Methodists, and some Western Orthodox communities. But the strongest and most formal association is Catholic, and that cross is treated as sacramental. Catholics describe it as something that may be blessed by a priest or a deacon and used devotionally for protection and prayer through the intercession of Saint Benedict. And they made a point to zoom in on that cross and show it in the trailer as well. And right after that, they do show us Sophia praying for protection with Kenny. And protection is how that cross is used. Saint Benedict was a 6th century monk who started monasteries. And monasteries preserve ritual and hidden knowledge. And what if there was a religious order that discovered this place and became the proverbial umbrella over companies like Grand Rapids Runner and Rende Move? And maybe Rende Move is just a corporate face for something that's much older. And if that is true, then the company's name is not just clever wordplay. That name becomes way more operational. Move them to a designated place. And that would shed some understanding on how people brought here have more obvious connections than others. And if you want to be real with it, Bhakta's grandmother knowing that riddle is definitely the strongest direct connection to a family member. Now, the other Catholic priest is the one that Tabitha spoke to after being led there by a vision that seemed to be the boy in white. I don't know, maybe it was a figment of her imagination or something purposely led Tabitha to that church. That priest knew the gender of the child that she mentioned falling off the changing table, and after being told about the monsters in that place that you can't escape from, he asked about a snack that a grown-ass man made for her. I mean, why is he asking about the snacks when she just got done talking about monsters and a place you can't leave and everything? It just seems like he wanted her to open up the lunchbox and find Henry's address. And that led her right over to Henry, and she ended up back in Frumlin with Henry. The other priest in the fold is Khatri, who seems to have been hiding something just like Donna. And Khatri even says how his actions were unorthodox when he stopped over to the little boy's crib. He also mentioned that he contemplated deleting himself after sending a man to the upper room with his bare hands. And a Catholic priest contemplating self-deletion is heavy. And what clergyman would travel without a Bible but have a bottle of liquor in his car? This is the guy that pushed for Frank to be thrown in the box even when it was really Megan's mother who failed to get her away from the window. but he wanted to save Sarah, hide her in the basement, and he tells her that he thinks that they're writing the 74th book of the Bible. And then this is a guy who wrote his own version of the Bible with who knows what he put in there. And now we have a character who has an actual Bible in the real town, and I'm interested on seeing how that plays out. Maybe she reveals that there is some outside knowledge of this place. I mean, Khatri had all types of smoke for Boyd, and he never backed down from Boyd. And then Nathan telling Khatri about Sarah hearing the voices and leaving the clinic open made him get up to run and speak with her. And at that point, he didn't know she was about to make an attempt on Ethan at all. That just happened to be going down when Nathan went to Khatri. I mean, Nathan told him about Sarah hearing the voices and what she had did at the clinic, and he gets up and rushes into town to try to talk to her. They didn't know that she was actually in the process of trying to delete Ethan. And when you think about it, Khatri said it was voices that made him get back in the car and drive to this place instead of deleting itself. And Khatri was a man that believed he was on some sort of path of destiny that was cut short by him getting caught slipping outside that post office. I mean, he was even saying it with his dying breath. And with him and Donna being the earliest occupants other than Victor, makes me wonder what other secrets did he hold about this place. Now, with season 4 upon us and the 5th and final season being in the works, I think we'll be getting more information about this company, Rende Move, what their role is, and if Donna knows more than we think. Now, last season, I marked Jim as the symbolic totem of Hiram Abiff, the widow's son. In season 2, little Ethan confirmed Jim's mother to be a widow. And Jim was the architect of the radio tower with the Joaquin and Boaz symbolism in his blueprint. He also performed the Masonic kneeling gesture of the funeral for the widow's son, and he ended up dying in the finale. The only thing is left to seal that whole Hiram Abiff archetype is Jim having some kind of resurrection arc. I mean, we see Ethan running to him as if he missed him, and Jim is still being billed as the main character, so we'll see how that plays out. I said it in season 2 that Jim is connected to this place somehow, not just by his wife, but his family as well. As far as Rende Move, I think there's going to be way more beneath the surface. And the year on that calendar in Donna's room and the timing of Boyd coming into town gives us yet another 47 to add to the pile. And if you go back through those suggested episodes, this company keeps surfacing in very intentional places. I think Henry has been to that website before and knows more than he lets on. He mentioned that the detective investigating his family's disappearance died 20 years ago. And I would not be surprised if that death is tied to somebody getting close to whatever Rende Move really is. Because at this point, I don't think we're dealing with the little cute Easter egg. I think we're looking at one of the clearest signs that there may be an organized human lair behind some of what we're seeing happen in this town. And if that turns out to be true, then Rende Move isn't just a moving company, it's a mechanism. And it could be a system designed to funnel certain people towards a designated place, a rendezvous. And if Donna, Khatri, Henry, and all these religious symbols are orbiting around that hidden structure, then season 4 might finally start revealing who has known about this place the whole time. So yeah, I'm going to be watching Rende Move real close this season because I think that name is attached to something much older and more organized than the show has fully revealed so far. So that wraps up this video for this evening. And if you like what you saw here, hype this video and do all of that dope YouTube stuff. And if you're not subbed yet, hopefully this will be the video to make you do it. That's all for the video this evening. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.